interview series in connection with the Global Emerging Leaders Awards 2022. I'm Aparna Kumar, the Global Co-Chairperson of GCPIT and your host for the show. Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade is an organization based in India, South Africa, US, UK, and UAE with board and council member representation across the world. We at GCPIT believe in fostering leadership across different levels. Recently, we have been reflecting on the significance of perspective in our role as leaders. When we advance from being an individual contributor to a leader, our perspective starts changing. We gain access to new information, have conversations with new people, think about things in ways we didn't have to before. These changes, our learnings, have immense power, and we believe that this interview series will help us and many aspiring future leaders to gain new perspectives, especially global perspectives from these emerging leaders. Today, we have with us such a leader to tell us about her perspectives on leadership while leading her venture. We have with us Dr. Paola Fiore, who is a pioneer of sustainability, CSR, and environmental management based in Milan. As founder and director of Ethic Ambient, she offers clients a forward-thinking and full-service provider of sustainability management and communications consulting, training, and coaching services. With over 28 years of experience in the field, she partners with environmentally and socially responsible corporate and nonprofit clients to create a culture of sustainability, pursue ethical actions and responsible leadership, find the right balance among economic, social, and environmental policies to drive sustainable business prosperity, lead for the common good, and enhance brand reputation. She is on a mission to empower generations of innovators and sustainability leaders to emerge through helping them define their purpose, vision, strategies, and goals, as well as refine their accountability and decision-making processes, and lead personal and organizational change towards sustainability, resilience, and well-being, and adaptation to climate change. Congratulations, Ms. Paula, for being nominated for the Emerging Leaders Awards. We are proud to have you with us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Aparna, and I'm really honored, humble, and happy for this nominee. So thank you so much from my heart.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us today. But before we begin talking about leadership, though I read your profile, I would like to hear it from you. Where did your journey begin? What's your background? And what are you currently doing?
Yes, my journey began when I was a little child. When my grandmother, shared with me her passion for taking care of our Mother Earth. And this passion guided me really since that time. So my background is about environmental law and environmental economics. And since the second half of the 90s, I'm focusing on sustainable development studies. I set up my own consulting firm specializing in sustainable management, communication, training, and coaching. And since, let's say, 2 decades, I also started applied technology, especially, in virtual spaces, just like working within the sustainability field, just like, let's say, a forward-thinking pioneer, always having how to best protect our planet, how to, less polluting our Earth. So working virtually already 20 years ago, so it was something, let's say, strange for the majority of people, but to me it was really important to give the example to the others. Yeah.
That's an amazing journey. That's great to know that you are inspired by your grandmother. Actually, we are all talking about going back to the roots. So if you had to 4 or 5 words or short phrases to describe how a successful leader in a global environment operates or behaves, what would they be?
Yes, so I would let's say choose 5 keywords that are very important for me, and in my experience I also seen very important for other people. So I would suggest to keep strong in their hearts and minds authenticity, first of all, Be true to yourself and others. Then compassion. That is so much important, especially in the historical time that we are living. Unfortunately, again, time of conflicts, war, many, many challenges around our planet. And then I would focus on your drive. What drives you? What really motivates you? What really comes from your heart and make you, feel all the energy inside and around you, and also transfer it to the other people. And then something that relates to your mind. So it's about determination. So don't be afraid to follow your passion, and don't be afraid to be determined to reach your goal. And these can be, let's say, even more important if you are determined to reach a goal that is not only for yourself, but first of all, I would say, and especially in connection for the common good. It will make you even more determined. And finally, my 5 keywords is dedication. And obviously, these again connect again to your heart. So dedicate yourself to what you really believe in, what makes you tick, and all the other, let's say, challenges and opportunity that you will find in your life and career and work will become much, much easier and also inspiring for the other people.
Yeah. That's really great to hear, especially about compassion. We all and compassionate, hard to be a global leader, especially after pandemic, right? Pandemic is still on, but still. So how would you describe the differences in the organization culture between a global environment and a more local or regional environment?
Yeah, that's another very important aspect, especially nowadays, to consider. In terms of diversity, equality, respect of all human rights, and obviously the rights of our planet. So it's very important because it really relates to how we can understand the people that we are going to work with, we are going to collaborate with. So it's not only about understanding, let's say the local culture, the different language that they speak, and especially the different meanings of the words, because nowadays, especially, we're very much used to speak with one language, at a time, English, just like the old Romans were used to speak Latin, as a common language for those days. But obviously, as non-English speaking people, we come from different cultures, different languages, and the meaning that we give to specific terminology is very important. So knowing also the differences about those types of meaning, especially for keywords that relates to not only culture, but maybe also to beliefs, to the religion, to the local uses and costume is really, really important. And obviously this relates to enhanced respect for the human being, but obviously for the whole community where that person lives and operates. That's really important. And then I would also suggest to have, let's say, a knowledge, not obviously a specific knowledge, but at least a general knowledge about the political situation. I'm not saying that you need to be an expert about geopolitics, obviously not, but as our global challenges, unfortunately, are becoming more and more connected and interrelated, obviously this is becoming important. So a little knowledge about the politics, about what are the main challenges for the society, the community, where, the leaders need to operate. That would be really a a plus, let's say, to have nowadays.
And you have been in the sustainability field for last, I think, 2 decades, right? That's what you mentioned. How is your company's purpose evolving over the years?
Yeah, let's say that it has evolved together with myself, I would say. So obviously, more than 20 years ago, there wasn't so much attention, I would say, on the human side. The attention was mainly on the organization, the company overall. So it was mainly about how to deal with the management, the organization, the planning, the strategy. And so obviously was my perspective as a consultant, although already specializing in sustainability and CSR in a particular field. But I would say, fortunately, in these last, I would say, in these last 10 years or so, the focus has been shifted towards, the main challenges, I would say also opportunity of human beings, being together, also within the organizations. So that's how also the purpose of my company has shifted, and I would say better evolved, as you were saying in your question, because obviously we shall all remember that change is inevitable, and obviously it's better to see change under a positive light instead of a negative, so that any change can create more good, more value, and possibly any challenge can be, let's say, a source of another opportunity, to grow, to develop, both personally and professionally, and hopefully also for the organization where you might be operating. Yeah.
Right. That's totally, I 100% agree with you. The human side, along with the environment side, this is what we have to focus on in the future, leading our businesses. And how should companies approach digitalization according to you? We were talking about technology. So what's your opinion on that?
Yes, and that's another important part, because as I shared earlier, I started to value technology over 20 years ago. And to be totally honest, I didn't like it. At the very beginning, I didn't like to use a computer, so I tried to avoid it until I could, but then I had to. So I learned, I forced myself, I challenged myself to learn all alone, and I did it. And now I have to thank, that situation, because it already allowed me to see the connection. Okay, so if we can, let's say, work virtually, we can reduce our travels, our mobility, and then consequently the air pollution that we create. So this possibility was already clear to me really 22, 23 years ago. So now, fortunately, technology is even better. It evolves not every year, not just every 6 months, just like he did 20 or so years ago, but I would say every week, every day. But there's a risk that we need to consider, that all the leaders need to consider. So technology is important, especially to reduce our carbon footprint, the pollution that we are still creating for our planet, but we cannot forget the human impact, the human value. So it's just like, to have two sides of the same coin. They need to be together, but obviously, first of all, what is important is us, because we are a human animal. We need to stay together with the other people. So the more we understand about these basic needs, the more we understand and can apply respect, authenticity, compassion, the more we'll be able to improve also the use of technology and create even better technological solution, hopefully always eco-friendly, or let's say the less polluting compared to the past. So I would suggest to always have this in mind and have a balance, always be guided and lead and give your example by putting in focus this balance.
And what was the most challenging difference in leadership or culture that you had to understand and overcome in a globalized economy?
Yes, so let's say obviously the cultural, the language differences, they are being always very important, but also in relation to, I would say, the climate crisis, the health crisis that we have been facing more and more. I would say really the understanding in particular about these type of challenges. So I started to, let's say, to search, to look deeper at how different cultures, in different parts of the world perceive these global challenges. And this taught me that it very much relates to the geography also, not only to the political context, let's say the differences in culture, but also really literally is connected to where they live. So it's important in terms of the consequences, the impacts that both the climate crisis, global warming, and the global pandemic have had and still have on those geographical areas where the people live. Because as our brain is, let's say, very much focused on the here and now in terms of time and space, it's really, let's say, able to see and understand what it can see, at the closer distance in the space where the human being live. While, on the contrary, it's difficult for ourselves to, let's say, understand what is far from us, both in time and in space. So that's why usually, when we listen to the news about another area of the world, we might not be so involved, emotionally. So I think that these nowadays, personally to me, but I'm perceiving this also within, let's say, other contexts, is possibly the major challenge. How people perceive really these global challenges. Yeah. And thank you for the question, Aparna.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that. We are learning a lot from you. And what different perspectives do you bring to the business as a leader with all your
So let's say that this is something that I also continue to learn, and as I very much let's say love really to learn and share what I learn and experience is, let's say, a continuum process. So first of all, I always try to, let's say, to share this attitude, with my clients, my collaborators, everyone that I meet and work with every day. So first of all, I would suggest, as I share about authenticity and compassion, I would also share always act with ethics and behaving with integrity in everything you do. both on your personal and professional life, because these are really the pillars, you know, of the house that you want to be for your, that you want to build for yourself and the other people. And then I would say always demonstrate, you know, with facts, your competence. So maybe it's better to speak less, to appear, let's say, less, even though it could be quite, let's say, difficult in this time of huge, massive social presence online. But maybe if we remind ourselves that, let's say, digital pollution is about the 4% of the overall carbon footprint, maybe we might acquire some sobriety that would be helpful. So demonstrating competence and always try to pursue towards excellence. At least this has been and is and will be my drive. And in relation to authenticity, try your best to prioritize authentic relationship. Really, really put yourself, you know, your inner values in any relationship since the very beginning, because it immediately helps to establish trust. And this is about the neuroscience of our brain. So if you, let's say, don't wear any mask, your brain and the brain of the other people in front of you will immediately see it, perceive it, and magically, let's say, the doors will open to trust and confidence. And what else? I would also add the importance, especially these days, to use creativity, you know, to use your creativity, because it's not true that there are only some people that are creative. Every one of us, just like each of us, can lead, you know, can learn how to lead based on their core values, you know, attitudes. As well, each of us can learn how to be creative. And especially use your creativity to be an advocate, you know, an advocate for the common good. And, you know, in my case, obviously, I'm going to suggest and encourage everyone to be an advocate for the environment, you know, and also climate change and climate innovation that are very important. And yeah, always finally speak the truth. Speak the truth to yourself, to the other people, share your authentic purpose, vision. And I would add also, don't be afraid to speak the truth to power. That's very important, especially in this time, so much challenging for us all. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing it. In that one answer, there's a lot to learn. I love the word digital pollution. That's just it. So what advice, yeah, you have been giving a lot of advices, but I would ask you this question. What advice would you like to give to someone who has taken a senior leadership role to be more impactful in the role they have taken up?
Absolutely. So always remember what's shared already, but try to engage, let's say, in open communication, honest communication, you know, without assumption, without judgment. And this comes from, let's say, my coaching experience. So it's very important not to, let's say, start a communication or, let's say, a relationship having already some assumptions in mind and in your heart. No, that's not good for establishing trust and confidence. And, you know, always as a leader in a new senior position, you need to connect with your team. And your team overall, but first of all, I would suggest to meet your team individually, you know, so that you can know one by one, if it's possible. Obviously, if you have, let's say, a team of many people, it might be challenges, but try your best to know them individually and them also as a team, because obviously, as human beings, we behave differently as individual and as part of a collectivity, you know. So these are two different environments with two different dynamics that is very important to know as a senior leader. And as said earlier, do your best to encourage and obviously give the example yourself to, let's say, grow. You know, have the growth, the developments always in mind. Any learning opportunity should be, let's say, pursued to grow personally and professionally. Not only, you know, for one employee in particular, but also considering the role of the person as a member of the team, and also having the bigger picture, you know, in a systemic view, also having in mind the organization needs and let's say strategic goals. And also as a larger circle, you know, always having this systemic view in mind, also having in mind what might be the positive impact for the community where the company operates and also the society. And what else I could share? Yes, obviously, as said before, because we know that change is inevitable. So we need to keep a positive attitude and also mindset. So keep yourself energized, motivated, inspired, so that you can do the same and pass, you know, your feelings, emotion, your knowledge, your skill to your colleagues, the people that you have to lead. And don't give order. Don't try to control the other people. That's horrible, I would say, even though we've been seeing so much of this, you know, in the management culture in the past decades, but always lead by example. So show and teach, you know, show and inform, show and communicate. And another important thing is set a very clear, very specific and achievable goals and expectations for your employees so that they don't have to, let's say, jump over the moon, you know. So that's very important to avoid any further psychological stress. And about the feedback, that's another key part. So we do need to listen to connect, and we don't have to listen to judge. So the same is for the feedback. We need to give direct, let's say, a constructive feedback. Because we need to put, you know, the other person, sorry, in the position to understand and grow, understand and grow. So we might say it would be even better if, you know, that would be, for example, a nice and constructive way to share a feedback with our collaborators, employees, and so on. And obviously, on the other side, the feedback is not only for your employees, it's also for yourself. So ask as a senior leader honest feedback to your colleagues, but also to the people that you lead, you know, about your leadership. I would say at least do this type of checking in once a year so that you can also, let's say, monitor the way you are leading, your behavior, and you know, if necessary, when it's necessary, you can change accordingly. And these obviously would reinforce incredibly the trust and the confidence within the member of the team and yourself. Absolutely.
Amazing, amazing. As I said, I am learning a lot, especially about the feedback part. Yes, you need to check in once a year at least so that you can continuously improve. Yeah. And when someone is aiming to be a global leader, are there any training or resources such as coaching or mentorship to help them be better leaders, or is it just a lot of practice?
Yeah, I would say both, Aparna. I would say both. As myself added, let's say, the coaching approach and different methodologies and skills and tools about now it's about 10 years ago, because I felt that I need to learn something new and to share, with the other people what I discovered and find valuable. I think that especially coaching nowadays is very important, and out there are so many very important and effective professional coaching programs. If a leader, a senior leader, want to, let's say, grow or lead in an even better, more powerful way, and if they want to become a professional coach themselves, but it doesn't have to be necessarily the case for everyone, because we might learn, let's say, some little about the main coaching approaches and apply to our, for example, consulting or training. Let's say that we can learn the basic skills of coaching and also learn about the differences. So coaching is, let's say, supports someone to set a goal, achieve the goal with their inner resources, as each of us already have all the necessary resources to be our own success. And we need to remember the differences. So coaching is not mentoring. Mentoring is, let's say, guiding with our experience someone else. And mentoring and coaching are not consulting. Consulting obviously is giving advice, and we don't give advice in the other two. So at least if you don't have the time, or let's say the resources, whatever it is, to get trained yourself, at least get some basic knowledge, because they will be very, very helpful, and even more in the next days. And obviously for myself is also the experience. And I would suggest also the other senior leaders, if you are curious, if you can keep your curiosity alive, try always to read, to study something that will help you to get better, about your listening skills, your communication skills, and about the way you might ask powerful, open questions, because in this way you will immediately, let's say, facilitate trust and confidence in the other people.
We also spoke about taking care of our teams. How can we make sure that all these resources are available to the broader leadership team within the ecosystem?
Yeah, and that's another very important question, Aparna, and thanks for asking. And I would say again, team coaching here, and in particular, systemic team coaching, can be a very powerful resource nowadays, especially after the COVID, because I would say the majority of the bigger companies, multinationals, organizations, they have started necessarily to work, virtually, remotely, and they work on different time zones. So the challenges that we mentioned earlier about the differences in culture, languages, meaning, might become even higher, or even, let's say, more important, in some contexts. So it's very much needed the preparation of the team overall, the all members, to set the ground to start working together virtually, or when they meet in presence in some part of the world, also in that way. But I would say that coaching and also facilitation, and also obviously mentoring, but I would say mainly coaching, can really empower a team to set the proper fundamentals, obviously built on trust and confidence, and collaboration, I would say, and respect, to work smoothly for all the tasks, for all the projects that they will need to work on together, to follow together, so that all the team members can support each other, and they can, let's say, use their collective intelligence, and they work, operate, and think as a team, not anymore as one individual. Yeah, that's also very important.
Right. And since you mentioned the COVID situation, we all saw how businesses globally were affected during this pandemic. So what have you learned from leading in this crisis?
Yes, Aparna, I'm still learning a lot. Really, every day I find myself, sometimes during the day and night to think, maybe reading some of the latest news. But again, I would really highlight the importance of keep our inner values very strong in our heart and mind, and be courageous. I would also highlight this, let's say, this attitude. Don't be afraid to be courageous, because really these are, I would say, challenging times, and we do need to find our courage. And, just like we need to find the source of our motivation as well, we need to find the source for our courage. But again, I wouldn't stress it enough. Each of us has already all the necessary resources within ourselves. We have already all the gifts as a human being. So each of us has the potential to lead, and obviously lead for the common good, not for, let's say, personal interest, not for egoistic reasons. Obviously, we are human, we know that that part is part of us, but it doesn't have to be the main focus. The main focus has to be more and more for the majority of the people, the common good, how to solve the global challenges together, because we cannot solve all the challenges we are facing and the ones that unfortunately we'll be facing by ourselves, or just with some people in some areas of the world, or maybe also within some sectorial part of the industry. No, it's not possible. We do need to see the bigger picture. We do need to see, the causes and the impacts, especially of the climate crisis and global warming, because let's say fewer people know about this, but in reality, these two, in connection with the loss of biodiversity, are incredibly big challenges, and from, let's say, the mitigation, adaptation, and multiple solutions to such challenges really depends our existence on Earth as human being, and obviously, the possibility to have a prosperous society and economy as well, and also to keep the democracy. That's very important.
That's really amazing to hear. I also believe if you are breathing, if you are alive, you have the responsibility to lead, especially during this tough time. Let's all hold our human values high and lead. And what do you say? Like, how do you promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace as a leader?
How? Yeah, I would. I always would give the possibility to, let's say, express also within their work their inner values. So I would, let's say, facilitate these type of showing up of, I would say, each employees, because if we really want to have, let's say, a healthy, safe, secure places at work within the organization, we do need to consider all the possible diversity that there are within each team. of any organization. That's very important. So find different ways to give people, let's say, some freedom to express themselves, so that they can feel empowered. You know, they can feel they are respected, they are believed, and so on. That's really, really important. Yeah. And don't be afraid to delegate, I would say, especially for senior leaders. It's again a problem or a challenge sometimes of trust, you know, and confidence within the senior leader themselves first, and consequently on the employee. But don't be afraid to delegate. Yeah.
That's really true, what you said. Many of the times we forget to delegate. We try to do everything ourselves. And I think that was a very valuable session we just had. I could really feel that you were speaking from your heart, and that was experience, so many years of experience speaking. But before closing, what would you like to advise the entrepreneurs who are dreaming to be successful in the global market?
What a poor advice, huh? So let's say I would, I don't feel I would like to advise. I would like always to be in the position of freely inspire other people. So really try to understand what are your core passions in life, and trying to build, let's say, your career or the development of your career always in relation to such core values, because they will be, you see, your light. They will be able to really guide you always, and also in moments of, let's say, fear or uncomfort. Yeah, so really, I would like to continue to inspire people, you know, and find their own way to lead, as each of us has the potential. And we can do this if we have a clear our core values, and especially if we can find our inner purpose in life. If we have our inner purpose clear, we can envision better our career, our working path, you know, our way to be the best entrepreneur as possible. Yeah, and many, many other things. Absolutely. And thank you, Aparna, for these questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paula, for sharing all your experience, amazing experiences. As you mentioned, when somebody is aiming to be a global leader, the 5 key, let me just summarize the key words you mentioned were authenticity, compassion, and our drive that comes from our hearts, and determination and dedication. Always demonstrate ethics and integrity, and lead with your competence. Always demonstrate your competence while leading, and never be afraid to follow your passion. And let's focus on the human side, and also let's take care of Mother Earth while leading our businesses. Technology is important, but let's not forget the human touch. Always lead by example, and let us hold our inner values high, and let each of us have I believe each of us have the responsibility to lead, because we are going through really, really tough time. Let's all be empathetic leaders. Thank you so much, Doctor, for sharing all this. I was just noting down all the points. There was amazing learning. I'm sure I'm going to watch this again. And we hope
thank you so much.
Helpful for many aspiring future leaders to gain new perspectives and climb the success ladder and become very good leaders, I would say. Thank you so much once again for sharing with us your journey. And
thank
as you
so
know,
much to you, Aparna.
Thank you. And as you know, we are on a huge mission, a mission to impact the lives of 100 million entrepreneurs. And I know that you are part of our journey, but I would like to invite our viewers to join us and be part of this game-changing mission, Impact Mission 2030. Our aim is to build a global community of great leaders from 190 plus countries by 2030. So if you are interested, you can mail us at contact@gcpit.us or find us on all social media as GCPIT Global. Join us as we come back with another emerging leader to inspire us and share us their perspective. Till then, this is Aparna G. Kumar signing off. Thank you once again, Dr. Paula, for joining us.